Hello everyone, I'm Chef Tommy with Artisan Catering. I'm a private chef and caterer from Destin, Florida. Destin, Florida is a small little town on the panhandle of Florida between Panama City and Pensacola. I am a husband, I'm a father, and I'm a chef. Since it's a chef show, maybe I should touch a little bit on me being a chef. Back in my hometown of Destin, we have won Best Chef in Catering 3 times. We've won Finest on the Emerald Coast, Best Catering Company, and numerous other accolades. But that's all boring stuff, so let's talk about what we're doing today. Today we're going to do some really cool cooking. I'm wanting to show you guys something that you could use like at any kind of level. If you're a private chef, you could use some of these recipes and add it to your arsenal of recipes that you're selling to your clients. If you're just an at-home foodie and you like to provide an awesome meal for your family, friends, or even a big event, I think all 3 of these recipes could be an awesome deal for anybody within those ranks. Now with these recipes, I've kind of done something that's going to challenge your recipe ability making a little bit, but not too much. It's not going to scare you away. And we have used some Destin seafood. We've used some local products, but throughout the whole way, you can switch out any of this, a grouper to a catfish to whatever. You can apply these recipes throughout all of it. So from the start, we're going to do an Ahi Tuna Poke. All my seafood is sponsored through Harbor Docks here, so it's all Gulf Coast seafood. We're going to do an Ahi Tuna Poke on top of avocado salad. It's gonna have an awesome marinade, ginger-sesame dressing, and then we're gonna make a nice spicy aioli. For the entree, we're gonna do a Floridian grouper. We're gonna do black and scamp grouper, some jumbo lump crab meat. We're gonna make a Parmesan crab crust, and then we're gonna put that on top of some whipped Yukon potatoes, some heirloom asparagus. Finish all that off with a charred lemon beurre blanc cream sauce. And then to finish everything off, we're gonna do a brulee key lime pie. We're gonna make your classic key lime pie. We're gonna do a little bit different in individual cups. We're gonna make that pretty much a classic way. We're gonna add some twist in it with maybe some brulee in, a nice crumble that we'll get into later on this series. Well, hey, I appreciate you guys so much for coming out and watching Eat This TV with Chef Tommy and Artisan Catering. I appreciate all my sponsors and thank you guys so much. Now let's jump into it. Alright, so starting off with our first recipe, we're going to do a little Gulf Coast Ahi Tuna Poke, the Artisan Catering way. So we're going to have a little fresh Ahi tuna. We're going to make a little guacamole. We'll make a marinade to marinate our tuna in, and we'll make some spicy mayonnaise to put on top of that. So starting off, we'll start off with some guacamole. We have some Hass avocados. I like them when they're slightly firm, but still have a little give to them so you can cut through them. Go ahead and half them. I like to do it all one step at a time, so I'll go ahead and half all 3 of these. Set them to the side. We'll go through and we'll de-seed them. And there's a couple different ways we can dice these down. If you feel nice with your knife, you can go ahead and you can dice it in the shell. So go ahead and do some vertical lines. Kind of perforate the avocado, per se. Rotate the avocado, horizontal lines. This way I think it makes a little more uniform dice. That's one way you can do it. And then we'll go ahead and we'll scoop the avocado out. It'll be nice and diced for you. Now, if you don't feel comfortable doing that, because the knife can go through the avocado shell, stab your hand. If you don't feel comfortable, you can always pull the avocado out. Set it on the cut board. And repeat the same method. Cut it vertically. Turn your avocado. Just like so. Alright. So, to the side. Now my guacamole is pretty simple. We're just going to do a little avocado, red onion, cilantro, and a little bit of green onion and lime juice. What we'll do is we'll take the ends off the red onion, go ahead and peel off your skin. Now the way I like to dice my onion, you'll see a lot of chefs do it this way. We'll We'll take it, we'll lay it flat, and go with avocado first. We'll just do a couple lines across this red onion. Then we'll top it with a couple more lines. And now we'll dice through on the onion. Now if you keep these dices small, it'll keep that onion at a really nice consistency to where you don't have huge pieces of onion in your guacamole. I'll go back through a little cleanup chop. Now we'll just add our red onion to the guacamole. Now from here we have some fresh cilantro we had just pre-chopped. A nice little handful in there. A little bit of green onion as well. And we'll take a lime. Get a little lime juice. Now, I had a prep cook teach me this little method a long time ago. And he cuts this lime. Here you go, I'll run it back, I'll show it to you. So he takes his lime, says you get the most juice this way. Roll it out, cut one end off, flip it all the way over. Cut the other end off, now set it down, repeat that process. You just squeeze each piece. Now when you squeeze these pieces of lime, you look into the lime, there is nothing left. If you try to do this, cut the whole lime in half and do the same process with your hands. It's a lot harder. Now, of course, you can use a juicer for all this. All right. Go ahead and squeeze all that in there. Mix it on up. Now, aside from our fresh vegetables or our produce, just put a little salt and pepper to taste. You should have a nice, vibrant, green, very fresh and flavorful guacamole salad. All right, set this off at the side. Clean up our board. And start working on our marinade. So when I was working down at a restaurant, we made this marinade for some tuna tacos. It's called Jacacudas on the Dustin Harbor. We had these awesome ahi tuna tacos. And this is how we marinated the tuna on those. I took that and I kind of slightly twisted it. Now with this tuna, we're just going to take this chain off. You saw me dip my finger in there and just kind of take it off. This meat on this side, it's not the best. It's all grainy. You don't want that. Now we're left with this beautiful loin. All the seafood we're going to be using today is Gulf Coast seafood. Came out of our waters down in Destin, Florida, and was sponsored by our fish vendor, which we buy our fish from, Harbor Dock Seafood. Now this tuna, I'm just going to go ahead and cut a couple slices. And I want to keep these slices to maybe like a 1/4 inch, if not smaller, just to make it to where we have a nice dice. With the tuna, it's best if you kind of let the weight of the knife work itself. Don't saw at it. If you look, it's kind of smooth. Go ahead and start cutting this down. Get a manageable stack of your tuna. Make sure it's all lined up nice. Let's go down. Cut a couple more vertical lines. Essentially, we'll do the same thing as we did with that avocado a second ago. We'll flip this bad boy over. Cut a couple more lines. So throughout this process, let's be thinking I'm feeding about 8 to 10 people. I have about maybe a pound of tuna here. I did about 8 avocados to make the salad. And with that amount, you'll probably still have a little bit left over. You won't have to worry about anybody going without. Another thing to hint at is if you're throwing a party or you're trying to elevate your party, some people may not enjoy seafood. So I'd make a little extra guacamole for the side. Maybe not top it all with the poke. Leave some over there for some people that don't care for the seafood. Or that maybe don't like raw seafood. All right. Move on to our marinade. So with the marinade, we're going to be using oyster sauce, soy sauce, rice wine vinegar, sesame oil. We're also going to bring in some fresh ginger and some green onions. So we'll start off with our soy sauce. I'm going to do 2 spoonfuls onto the tuna. We will do half a spoonful of our oyster sauce. And another half a spoonful of sesame seed. Mix this all together. Go ahead and set this in the fridge and make our spicy mayonnaise. All right, starting off here, we'll go ahead and get to our spicy aioli or mayonnaise. I like the Kewpie mayonnaise, Japanese style. It's got a little better texture personally. I think it's a little sweeter. So I'll just use a whole bottle of the Kewpie. And the bottle's really cool. You can smush it every little bit out. Then I also like the gachi sauce, similar to sriracha, but a little smaller market, a little homemade style. We'll put maybe like a tablespoon to 2 tablespoons. This is kind of up to you, however spicy you like it. I like a little spicy, so I'll put 2 tablespoons. And then we'll finish with our rice wine. Same thing, about 1 to 2 tablespoons. Totally up to you. This recipe is really simple. We'll go ahead and mix through. You have a nice pink sauce. All right, and it's all incorporated, so we're just gonna let this sit and we'll be right back. While we were gone, we bottled up our sauce, added our little extra marinade to the side, and we're ready to plate. This is how I do it. I go ahead and I would grab a little bit of the extra sauce, put it on the bottom of the plate, And elegance is key here, making it look really nice. A little bit of our bottled sauce. A little layer to the bottom of the plate. And from there, we'll start layering our ingredients. Start with that fresh guacamole salad. And if you can see, you know, we didn't mush it all up when we were mixing it. We left it rustic where you have these nice clumps of avocado. I believe that helps with the texture of the dish. It really makes it amazing. So this dish is super fun to me because it's bright, it's got a lot of colors, it's fresh. And if you're doing it as an appetizer, it's not gonna ruin your meal. You know, it's gonna be a nice accompanying factor to your party, backyard barbecue, or even, you know, a private chef event. Alright. We have all of our guacamole in here. Go through. Make sure everything looks nice. Now go through and just make a little bit for that tuna to sit into. And that tuna sits in the fridge. The sauce is starting to tack up inside that tuna, give it a nice marinade. That changes the color a little bit, gives it a nice shine. We'll just layer this right there in that groove. Now you can do this however you like. You can have more tuna, more guacamole, you know, whatever your preference is. Me personally, I love the guacamole. So I like the tuna to accompany the guacamole rather than the guacamole to accompany the tuna. Now that all depends on how much tuna you buy and how much dice up and put in this recipe. You can put more tuna than guacamole. You can make more of a diced tuna and not make the guacamole, add it all in. But as long as you keep the marinade and the sauce, everything's gonna be all good. Man, it smells so good. Perfect. All right, go back through. A little bit more of that marinade on top. I like the way it looks when it starts to mix in with that spicy mayonnaise. Finish a little drizzle across the top. And we like to finish a little bit of fresh cilantro, sliced green onions. There you have it. Gulf Coast Ahi Tuna Poke with a nice ginger sesame seed marinade. Spicy aioli. It's amazing. A little chip. You can serve it with chips, you can serve it with tuna, or with a little cucumber. You can do a wonton chip. You can serve it with little rice patties. You do want a little texture with it. You eat however you like. Thank you all so much. That was amazing. So next we're gonna be doing our Floridian grouper. Doing a little Parmesan crab crust on top, whipped Yukon potatoes. We're gonna do some heirloom asparagus and some green asparagus. Do that with a charred lemon beurre blanc. Bake it all off. Thank you all so much. Welcome back. So we're going to start here. We're going to do the asparagus portion of our Floridian grouper. We have pre-blanched our asparagus, so we got a little bit of water. We got water boiling. We nipped off the bottoms of these asparagus and we had dropped it in the water. About 2 minutes, pulled them out, stuck them in some ice cold water, stopped the cooking process. The reason we did that was just get it cooked a little bit through, so when we're searing off in this pan, we get a nice crust without burning the outside. Now, if you blanch it too much, it'll droop down. If you don't blanch it enough, you're not gonna have a nice bounce when you pinch it. If it's blanched correctly, you should still be able to hold that asparagus out. It should sit up for you. All right, so we got our pan nice and hot here. Start with a little bit of oil. Then we're gonna throw our asparagus in there. From here, we'll season. Add a couple thyme leaves, a couple nubs of butter. Squeeze a fresh lemon. We're just gonna let that come all together. So we're going to squeeze the lemon to cut the richness from the butter. We'll also add a little bit of parsley to add some freshness. And then all the seasoning, cooked to the bottom of the pan, so we'll add a nice little glug of wine. Let all that come together as a nice sauce to glaze the asparagus. And there, lower your temperature, let the butter and the wine reduce. Take a little lemon and zest some of that in there. Again, that's bringing some more freshness to cut the richness of the plate. All right. We are through and through. We'll set it off to the side. We can start working on our grouper. And we will be right back. Welcome back. All right, we're gonna start working on our whipped Yukon potatoes now. In this bowl, we went ahead and we boiled off our Yukon potatoes till they're fork tender. From there, we're gonna go ahead and start adding them into our KitchenAid mixer. What we're gonna do is we're gonna take some hot cream and cold butter. We're gonna incorporate them into these potatoes until we have the consistency we like. We're also gonna add a little bit of salt and pepper and garlic. Parmesan cheese, it's gonna be amazing. So first, I drop it down, I get the potatoes mixed. Enough that it won't slosh around the hot cream. Then from there, I'll just slowly start adding in my hot cream. Do a little pinch of garlic. Salt and pepper. And last but not least, we'll add some butter. For this, I did about 10 pounds of potatoes, 1 stick of pure Irish butter, and about 2 cups of heavy cream. I like my potatoes fluffy, so I wait till it's all incorporated, and then for that last little bit, I'll increase the speed, make sure we get a nice whip on them. There, we'll pop it up. A nice little stir. Take a little taste. Make sure the seasoning's on. It is good. And now we can add our Parmesan cheese. I think it needs a little bit more. All right. Last thing, with the cheese all the way incorporated, we will be through with the whipped Yukons. Make sure you don't have any clumps. Those mashed potatoes are good. We'll be back. Welcome back. I'd like to first start off by thanking our sponsors over at Harbor Dock Seafood. Not only just our friends, but our vendors as well, for sponsoring all the fish for this show. Here we have some amazing Gulf Coast grouper, scamp grouper, caught just a couple days ago. It's about a 4 to 5 pound slab here. I'd say it's gonna feed anywhere from 8 to 15 people. All right, that's a big number, but we'll see once I cut it down. So it's been cleaned off the side. So it's not a whole fish. This is just one side of the grouper, if you can imagine that. So throughout this fish, there's one layer of pin bone that's gonna run right down the middle of this fish that we're gonna need to take off. Now you see there's still a little bit of skin on here, some belly meat, some of the skin on belly meat. I'm gonna take a lot of this off. If we were frying it, that's like one of my best pieces for fried grouper. But I'm gonna go ahead and take that off for this application that we're doing. In here you might find a couple rib bones. So just getting here behind the rib bones. I'll take the whole belly off. Come up in here, and I'll just clean off that gill line. Get rid of that. So we'll take this skin on there that my boy Tony forgot to take off for me. Go ahead and flip it over. This is the easiest way to find that rib bone. So I'll slide it to the back, right here in the center. That's where your ribs are gonna start. You can do it with your finger, you can run your knife down till you feel that poke. Regardless, you'll feel that first pin bone there. Once it starts, you'll have a couple pin bones running all the way back. Just follow that red line straight down. And it'll actually curve into the loin a tad bit. Pull it out like that. Make sure we've cleaned it all the way through. And then I invert my knife, flip it around, pop it right out. Now from here, we have a clean fillet grouper. You can go through. This is up where its fins are. I like to go through and pull that out. You can eat it. I just don't like the way it looks on my fillet. So now I'll go through. I'll kind of look at this bad boy. For me, I have a lot going on today. We have a little appetizer, entree, dessert, all that going on. So I'm gonna cut it a little bit smaller. Say this is the only thing, you can cut a little bit bigger, give them a more dinner-sized portion. Like I said, for us today, we're gonna go with more of a sample size. We can always come back and get some more little leftovers. So I'm gonna split it right down the bloodline. Make it a little more manageable to deal with. Now if you can tell, this tail piece right here, it's really thin, opposed to how thick it is over here. I take that off. Back home, we save it, fry it up for some tacos. Now from here, I'm gonna just go down. I'm gonna do little 3 to 4 ounce portions. All the way across. Starts getting a little wide. I'm gonna run straight down the loin side. Separate it. Follow the bloodline. Again, 3 to 4, maybe 5 ounce pieces here. It'll be good to go. Looking like we're gonna have more like 15 portions. Man, it looks good. Look how thick that is. What people really enjoy about the Gulf Coast seafood and grouper especially, is if you can look in there, there's actual fillets or flakes as they say. When you sear that off, those are all gonna fall a piece and they're really nice, tender, juicy, mild flavored fish oil flakes. And that's what people really enjoy about it. This premium grade fish here, you know, they're paying top dollar for the per poundage on this. Yet again, we got the bottom side of this loin. I'm just gonna go down and keep on portioning these at that same size. We'll be good to go. Like stated, Destin, Florida, it's one of the luckiest fishing villages in the world. Right there in our pass, you can get out in the deep waters within 20, 30 minutes. Gives you the availability to catch fish like this, and for us chefs around town, we get the awesome benefit of being able to purchase this and sell it really fresh and locally sourced. All right, we're gonna get ready to start searing this off, and we'll be right back. All right, we're back. So we're gonna get the searing off our scamp grouper here. We're gonna blacken it up, a little bit of our blackening seasoning. Now while we're going, we got started on a little bit of our charred cream sauce. With this cream sauce, we just sweat it down a little bit of red onion, garlic, a tad bit of thyme. Reduce some white wine and cream until we got the consistency we liked. And then from there, we're gonna strain it out and we'll apply that to the top of our Parmesan crusted grouper. So from here, we'll start seasoning our grouper. I think it's imperative you season all the sides of your protein. So we'll go ahead and we'll flip them all over. Get both sides of these bad boys. All right, we've got our pan preheating up, so we'll get a little oil in here. I'm gonna add the heat, add a little more heat to it. As we add this fish, we'll cool that pan down. So from here, we'll start adding our grouper in. When I add my fish in, I kind of swoop it around in the oil, make sure it's got a nice little bit of oil underneath so it doesn't stick. Apply a little bit of pressure so you know the surface area of the fish is all in contact with the hot pan. Whew, smelling good. Now, I like to use a lot of the pan, but I don't want to overcrowd them. So make sure there's a little bit of space in between my fish. Let's get to searing those bad boys off. Now in the meantime, our sauce over here has reduced to a nice consistency. I'm going to add a couple nugs of butter. Kind of bring all the flavors together and make the sauce nice and glossy. So I add in some cold butter or a hot cream. Reduce the heat a tad bit. Just keep a nice whisk on this bad boy here. Now if you get this cream too hot when you're adding the butter, it will try to separate on you, so there's a nice balance when you're reducing it. You want to reduce the water out so it doesn't separate. Back on the fish, check them out. Right, it's a little under. We're going to keep on rolling. I want to get a nice little crust on there. It all stays nice and hot. There it is. So while we're cooking this fish, we'd like to tell you a little bit about Destin, Florida. Down in my hometown of Destin, Florida, we get a lot of tourism down there. People come down to Destin, Florida to see dolphins, go fishing, get with our amazing beaches. Our beach, it has perfectly white sand, one of the only places in the world with that awesome sand. I show on production crew our sand dollars back here. My daughter actually jumps down in a cool little watering hole we call Noriega Point. She'll jump down in there. She actually grabbed all those sand dollars. Her, my daughter Skylar, my other daughter Dylan, they both grabbed all those. Pretty cool. So yeah, I definitely check it out. Down there, we own a catering company. Our company's called Artistic Catering. We really like our food to look great, so we named it after that. So we really pride ourselves in the artistic ability to put the food on the plate, to not only have an awesome flavor, but as soon as you walk in and you look at that food, you know it's going to taste awesome. So from here we got sear on both sides of these fish. Now it's still on the raw side, it's not cooked all the way through, but we're going to set it off in this pan. We're going to add a little crab to it. We're going to add that sauce to the top of it. We'll bake it off in the oven to add a nice crab crust to it. Add a little more oil to the center of the pan. A little bit more about my company. We like to, we're contracted by a couple of yachts down in Destin, Florida. It's one of our favorite things to do. We do all sorts of catering. We do private chef catering work for, anywhere from 6 to 10 people. We do a lot of wedding catering, so they come down, they'll rent an Airbnb down there, get married on our beautiful beach, and they'll come back to the reception. My chef and myself, we'll meet them back there, and we'll cook some amazing food for them. Yeah, it's pretty awesome. Get these slid over here. We got about 3 more pieces we'll sear off. And then we'll get these guys ready to go in the oven. Welcome back. From here we're going to finish up these Parmesan crusted groupers. We'll start with this Gulf Coast lump crab here. We'll add it to the top of the grouper. On each one of these bad boys. This Gulf Coast crab here is super sweet, super lumpy. We got the jumbo colossal lump. That helps keep that moisture in there and it won't break down as much as, you know, maybe a little back fin or regular lump would. We're just gonna add it all on top of these fillet fishes we blackened off. We've also went and strained out our sauce, threw it in a bowl right here beside us. We're gonna take that and we're gonna apply it to the top of this fish, a little Parmesan cheese to create a crust. I ran a couple restaurants in my past, and this right here was one of my featured dishes in every restaurant I ever ran. I always call it the Floridian grouper. I try to keep everything on it as local as possible and from the state of Florida. Blue crab, the grouper, down to the asparagus. I'm gonna add a little lemon. Again, the acidity is gonna cut the richness of that heavy cream, that butter, and add a nice touch to that blackening seasoning. From there, take our sauce, add it to the top. Now it kind of has that off-white beige color. When we got the pan hot, right before we threw our onions in to saute it, we cut a lemon in half. We placed it right down into the pan, and we charred it off. Got a nice charred lemon flavor on the pan before you add your oil and your onions. Helps season it up a little bit more. Just bring a little bit more of that flavor on there. You know, I had a chef when I first started. I asked him, I said, hey, how do I make it far in this business? You know, how am I going to be the best? How am I going to really rock it out? His name was Tyler McMahon, but he told me in every layer, and every time that you're layering your food, in every step, you just add more flavor. So, you know, you add your cream, salt and pepper, butter, try to add another layer of flavor. If you add these layer of flavors, you stack them on top of each other, by the time you're done with that dish, you know every element in that dish has been flavored, you've tried it, it tastes awesome. It's gonna turn out to an amazing dish. So from here, we're gonna finish it off. We're just gonna grate some fresh Parmesan cheese right there on top. Now what's gonna happen is the fish, that sauce, and the crab, it's all gonna kind of melt together into one crust as it's baking off in the oven. Man, I'm telling you what, even people who don't like seafood, they're gonna like this dish. For the ones in the back, the ones who don't like seafood, they're gonna love this dish. And this for me, say I'm making this at the house, this is the spot that my kids want to come in. You know, all the other work, they don't want to help with that. But when we're grating the cheese, everybody wants to come in the kitchen and everybody wants to grate a piece of cheese. So, and I understand, it's pretty fun. All right. And we're gonna stick this in the oven. We'll be back to plate this up. Welcome back. So in this part of the segment, we're gonna get to our key lime pie. So we're gonna do a little brulee key lime pie. We're doing a little bit different. We like ours in little individual pie shells. You can get the whole pie. This recipe does for both. So the batch of this, it can make 1 whole pie, or you can make 6 small pies. Either way, we found the best recipe, believe it or not, right here in the back of the bottle. That's the best. Now we'll show you some other tricks, gonna set it apart from the side and make ours a little bit different than everybody else's, but the base, they got it down. So let's start with there. So what we do, we're gonna separate 3 eggs, all you need 3 eggs, 14 ounces of sweetened condensed milk, and then you need half a cup of this key lime juice. That's it, and then your pie shells. Now the pie shells here also, if you're feeling fancy, you wanna go do it, you can get some graham cracker crumbs, some loose ones. You can add a little bit of drawn butter to it, press together in your own pie sheet, and you can make your own pie shells. Now for the sake of the show and for the time we have, we just went this route, and I think this is gonna come out really nice. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna separate our eggs, pop it on a flat surface so you don't get any shell in your bowl. I'm gonna go the old school way, my grandma taught me. Just kind of pop it between my hands, make sure you get all the egg white off, and we're saving this egg white, okay? Make sure you save the egg white. Take the egg yolk, 1 bowl, egg white is separate. Again, we'll crack it on a flat surface, like grandma told you. Separate. Last one. Separate. So from here what we'll do, we'll set our egg yolks to the side. This is where we're gonna make our key lime batter. And we're gonna work with these egg yolks. Now we're only gonna use these for one thing, and that's gonna be the pie shells. Now this is a major key, I think, with any pie. You can use this for key lime pie, cheesecake, whatever. When it comes to this crust here, I don't know if anyone's ever bitten into a cheesecake and the crust falls off the back, or it's just like kind of crumbly, it's not sticking together, and there's not like that nice sweet toasty flavor to it. That's because they haven't done this step right here. This step right here, we'll take a little brush with our egg whites, and we'll just brush it on these pie shells. It only takes a second, and you don't have to buy anything extra. It's a byproduct of what you're already using. So I'd suggest it. So just take this egg white, wipe it on your shell. Now you don't want too much. All the extra that doesn't need to be on there will literally fall right back off. We'll repeat this process on all 6 of these. And 6. I've seen some people go in this step right here, maybe throw a little sugar in there, make it a little crunchier. I don't do that. I don't think it's exactly necessary. No, do what you please. If you like it, you can go ahead and do it. Then also, in the grocery stores, you can buy Oreo shells. Super cool thing. My daughters enjoy that. They like the chocolate key lime shell on there. Me personally, I like the graham cracker, and I think it's a little more original, a little more classy, but I'd suggest maybe just checking out that Oreo crust. Now from here, we'll take our pie shells, we'll stick them in the oven, 350, maybe 2 to 3 minutes. Kind of check it out. All you're looking for is you'll see that egg yolk, or that egg white per se. You'll just see it kind of crust up and give you a little bit of firmness. And then from there, we'll fill it up, and we'll be right back. Thank you. All right, now we've baked off these pie shells. Should look something similar to that. We're gonna start working on our key lime batter. Like I said, really simple. Me and my daughter, we've been making this since she was 6. When I had a restaurant, we'd make 24 every Monday. Anybody can do this. It's very simple. So you have 3 egg yolks that we separated. We have 14 ounces of condensed milk. You can get the can. I like this resealable one. Not that I'm gonna reseal it. It just doesn't get all over my hands. It's sticky and terrible stuff. And then the key lime juice. 3 eggs, whole container, half a cup. That's it. So we'll go ahead and untwist this. Apply the whole container. All right. And then 1/2 cup key lime juice. And then we will just mix this until it all comes together. I like to break the yolks up. Awesome. All the way incorporated. We'll set this to the side. So from here, we'll start working on our crumb. The crumb I'm going to do a Biscoff and pistachio crumb. Now I think it just adds a little elegance to the top of this key lime pie, as well as just making it a little bit different. With the pistachios, I like to buy the ones in the store that are already shelled, and then I also buy the honey roasted ones. It brings a little extra sweetness to the dish, and whatever's left over, I'll just snack on while I'm cooking. So let's throw this to the side. Go ahead and get a nice little rough chop on your pistachios. Once you chop the pistachio, the inside of the shell has a nice green color. So not only does it bring a nice earthiness, little savory hint to the dish, it's also really aesthetically pleasing with that awesome green color that's going to be sprinkled on the top. Just a nice little rough chop. You want some big pieces, you want some small pieces, not everything has to be so small. And then a little Biscoff cookie. Now everybody knows these. Straight off the airplane, little double packs. Found in my suitcase. No, I'm just kidding. You can buy them at the grocery store. Alright, so we'll take 3 packs of these, stack them all up on top of each other, straight down, then anything crazy. We'll just take them both, mix them up. Once you add that sweet cracker to it, turn it into a nice crumb. From here, we'll set it to the side. For later use. And with this crumb here, if anyone has a nut allergy, tree nut allergy, anything like that, you can, one, just leave it off. You don't have to use it. But two, if you want that crunch, you kind of want that savoriness, you can sub out that pistachio nut for a sunflower seed. It's a very awesome addition to a recipe if they're not allowed to have, or if they're allergic to, tree nuts. I use that in pesto and all sorts of other applications when regarding with an allergy. All right, now from here, we've had time for our shells to cool a tad bit. We had time for our batter here to set up. See how it kind of gets a little thicker. Then from here, I kind of like to use a spoon. I don't like to get any of this batter on the outside of the crust. If you do that, it's going to kind of have like a weird brown burnt color to it. Doesn't kill anything, but this just makes it look a little nicer. So I just take a little spoon. I got 1 spoonful in each, just so they're all consistent. If you fill one all the way up to the top, by the time you get to the last one, you may not have the same amount in each one. Is it going to kill the dish? No, but it makes me feel better about it when they all look exactly the same. Go back through, fill them up. All right, I come through and I just like to do a little smoothing. Make it nice and smooth on the top. Again, you can skip this step, you don't have to do it, but I just like it when it looks nice. Perfect. All right, guys, we're gonna stick this in the oven, 350 for 6 minutes. Now we're gonna let it cook 4 minutes on one side. Go to the oven after the 4 minutes, pull your tray out, spin it around, stick it back in for the remaining 2 minutes. Now what that's gonna do is gonna make sure it cooks evenly, and there's a lot of egg in this recipe. If you overcook this recipe, the egg's gonna actually start to cook in here. So you're gonna have like a scrambled egg looking thing. Should be like that. It should be super smooth custard. So if you do 4 minutes on one side, flip it for another 2 minutes, pull out, and then cool in your refrigerator or your cooler, maybe about 2 to 6 hours, you're gonna be good to go. So we'll go ahead and stick these in for the time being, and we'll catch you on the way back. All right, so we're gonna start plating up our Floridian grouper here. Just got it out of the oven. Made a nice, perfect Parmesan crab crust here. And as you can see, there's a nice little bit of sauce in the bottom of the pan as well. Very flavorful. So we'll go ahead, we'll start plating it up. I'm gonna plate it on 2 separate plates. I'm gonna put the grouper on one plate and the mashed potatoes and the asparagus on a separate one, just so y'all can really see it. Now when I'm plating this, I don't really wanna just throw it on the plate. We just spent all that time, a good bit of money on this product. Let's sit it on there really nice and make our guests or our clients or family feel super special with this meal we just created. All right, so I'm gonna line it up all the way down the middle. Then once we get it all lined up, we're gonna put a little bit of that sauce that we created, that charred lemon beurre blanc, right on the top side of it. Finish it with some freshly shaved Parmesan cheese, grated Parmesan cheese, and it will be ready to go. Let me get this thing front and center for you guys to see, and it's a masterpiece. Oops, I gotta go right there. All right, then we'll finish it off. Again, that charred lemon beurre blanc. This is to accompany the fish. You don't want to drown it. You just want a nice little bit of that rich, creamy lemon sauce to be in each bite, not to take over the bite. All right. From there, we're going to shave some Parmesan on the top. Thanks, sir. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, that's amazing. And again, This is an amazing time to bring your kids, get them to shave it on. They really enjoy it. I like to finish mine with a little bit of thyme. We had that in our sauce. I always like to accompany my dish with something I had stuck into it. And just a nice little bit of shaved scallions. Very nice. All right, let's start working our sides. We'll start here, this whipped Yukon mashed potatoes. Man, I can't keep my hands out of it either. I've been eating it since I made it. Go through, make sure we whip it all the way around. The bottom of it's gonna be a little warmer than the top. It's holding that heat in there, so we'll bring it all the way around. Same thing, we don't want to crowd this plate. Super fluffy, doesn't even want to come off the spoon. I'm just gonna line these up right down the middle. I'm gonna give it some volume so those white mashed potatoes don't get lost on that white plate. And this is where you get artsy with it. You know, this is where your personality, your swagger comes out. I'm gonna lay all these right down the middle. I'm gonna put a little bit more of that charred lemon cream on the top. Like I said, I'm gonna add one more layer of flavor just to ensure this is where it needs to be. I'll go through, kind of fluff it out. Good to go. Run that sauce right down the top. All right, and then from here, I kind of like to lay my asparagus in a pattern. Down the top of it. Takes a little bit longer to do it this way, but the end result is impeccable. If you want to, you can just throw it on there, but every bit of effort you put into everything in cooking comes back tenfold. So the more effort you want to put into it, the better it's going to be at the end of the day, the more of an experience and value you're going to add to whatever party, backyard barbecue, say you're a private chef, whatever it is, the effort always adds up. So here we go, we got a nice little display there. For me, I'm gonna put another strike of the sauce, maybe a little grate of the Parmesan cheese. Another great application here would be a little balsamic reduction if you wanted to do a little drizzle, bring in some more color, a little bit more flavor. For me, I'm just gonna use some of this chopped parsley. Man, that's your Floridian grouper setup there. So again, scamp grouper blackened. Then we threw it in the oven, a little bit of lump crab, some of our charred lemon beurre blanc, freshly grated Parmesan cheese. We let that cook off for like, I don't know, with like 8 to 12 minutes until it got that nice crusty pizza cheese on the top. Again, that was like a 5 to 6 pound slab of grouper. I think it came out to 15 different pieces. You get that right there, you're feeding a lot of people. Here we did 10 pounds of potatoes. We did 1 bunch of asparagus. Again, I think they're gonna match up, quite frankly. Both these plates, I think, is gonna feed up to 15 people. It's not just gonna feed them, I think you're gonna give them a whole experience here. So y'all check it out, and I hope you guys enjoy this meal later on at your house. All right, moving right along, we're gonna start plating up our brulee key lime pie. So we've baked them off, we've made our batter, we've egg whited the crust, and now they're sitting out, we've cooled them off. We're just gonna apply 1 spoonful of sugar to the top of our key lime pies. Kind of give it a little shake, get all the way around. So we're just gonna brulee this sugar right onto the top. And what we're doing, we're just melting down the sugar to turn it into a liquid, and then when it dries, it'll be nice and hard for us. It also adds a little sweetness to the dish and some awesome texture. We'll just heat it up until you see it start to liquefy. All right. Caramelized sugar all the way around. And then from here we'll plate up. So I got a little bit of white chocolate whipped cream. I just like to set it down on the plate where I know my key lime pies are gonna go. And that'll make it to where you can pick up your plate and walk around and it's not gonna slide all over the place on you. Go ahead, set our brulee key limes right there. Add a little bit of whip to the top. I like to add a little strawberries for color. We'll finish with our crumb that we made earlier. And I'm a fan of garnishing, so I brought a little bit of mint here. Just really spruce it out. Plus it smells fantastic. Alright guys, I hope you all enjoyed watching me put together all three of these dishes. Hope you learned something. Thank you so much for watching today's show with Artistic Catering and Chef Tommy. I had a pleasure of cooking our Floridian grouper, our whipped Yukon mashed potatoes with our heirloom asparagus. We did that awesome tuna poke at the beginning, and our blue egg key lime pies. I really appreciate y'all watching. Thank you so much to my sponsors, the pool repairman guy, Brotula's, Jackacuda's, Marina Cafe, Kickin' Chicken, and Harbor Dock Seafood. Thank you so much.